Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, she's a member of the House Ways and Means Committee, the Republican Conference Assistant Whip. Congresswoman, your reaction?
Well, it's absolutely abhorrent that we would have members of the squad making comments like this. Look, right now, the entire Congress needs to be focused, number one, on getting back to work. And number two, we need to make sure we provide Israel with the support it needs as soon as possible. And right now, there's a bipartisan effort that's underway to convince this administration to help get our citizens out. We need to do that immediately. We have countries all around the world that are in Israel right now with either military planes or they've chartered commercial aircrafts getting their citizens home. And the fact that this administration has not yet taken swift action to do that is just unconscionable. That should be the number one priority of everyone right now in Washington.
What can you do in terms of what's going on here in America? Protests in New York City, for example, this week. The NYPD's chief of patrol says that there is no known local terrorist threat, but they're still boosting patrols in Jewish neighborhoods. Here is National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan on whether Americans should be worried about a terrorist threat. Watch this.
We continue to remain vigilant about terrorist threats to the homeland from anywhere. It is something that we are very much working on, that we are consulting with the Congress on, that we are seeking to secure the necessary resources to continue to work through. And anytime we see any threat stream involving a terrorist threat to the homeland, we mobilize every asset and resource of the U.S. government to go after that. And that includes information and analysis that we have shared with the Congress about plots emanating from the Middle East, plots emanating from other places. We'll continue to do that.
Congressman, what are your thoughts here? Are you worried about a situation happening in America, whether or not it's Israeli sites or just terrorism in general?
Absolutely. We need to be concerned about something potentially happening in the United States. I think it would be naive to not think that something potentially can happen. And that's why we need to make sure our law enforcement, our officials have all the tools and resources they need. Look, I'm very concerned about our wide open border. I've been saying this for now 2 years. What happened with the Bagram Air Base and those prisoners being released, we don't know necessarily where they are or who they are, but we do know that they were ISIS-affiliated fighters. We know that ISIS was looking to smuggle individuals into the United States. FBI had confirmed that. We know that 250 terrorists were caught at our southern border. And we also know that the estimates are upwards now of 1.7 million people have gone undetected into the country, and they have no interaction with law enforcement or our federal government. These are not people who turn themselves in trying to seek asylum. These individuals who purposely were evading any law enforcement. And so we wonder, we have to be very vigilant about who they are, where they are, and what their intentions are. And the fact that some of my colleagues in the Democratic Party act like, all of a sudden that's an anti-immigrant statement, and it has nothing to do with that. We need to know in a post-9/11 world who is in our country, and that is why I am very concerned that something can happen, which is why we need to support our law enforcement, do everything they say we need to do as members of Congress to support their efforts. And by the way, secure this border now. So, it may be too late. Secure the border now, Chuck Schumer.
What happens to these people who are on the terrorist watch list? I mean, we have a list of 150 people that were apprehended. Now, I know that typically when you're apprehended, you are processed and led into the country and told to return when you have a court date. But we've got all of these numbers here from 20, 21, 22, 23. In this year alone, 151 people apprehended on the terrorist watch list. Where are those people? Were they led into the country or what?
No, I don't believe that they were let in the country. And the one thing that is important to note is, the local people in New York, right, have tied the hands of the NYPD so they cannot cooperate with any federal detainer requests. The only exception they make is for suspected terrorists. Thank God, right, that they actually do it for terrorists. But what about the people who are peddling poison to our children, people who are committing rape or other crimes? They do not cooperate with those federal detainer requests. So the city needs to reverse this policy. They need to start cooperating with federal authorities. If the Biden administration is requesting for someone to be deported, you know it's for a very bad reason, because they're not requesting for many people to be deported. The New York City Council and the state legislature need to reverse course here and start getting individuals who are committing crime in our city who are here illegally out of the country.
Congresswoman, Republican lawmakers are voting for a House Speaker candidate in about 90 minutes. Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, Louisiana Congressman Steve Scalise, both joined me this week explaining why they should take the job. Watch this.
I think I'm the one candidate who can unite our conference and then go tell the American people what we're doing and why it matters to them, why it's important to their family, to their community, to their small business, why it's important what we're doing for our country.
I've got a long history of bringing people together, uniting Republicans, focusing on the issues that we've got to do to address the things we came here to do. I've had a history of building coalitions, uniting people to focus on getting those things done, getting Congress working again, and doing it quickly.
Congresswoman, who are you supporting for Speaker?
Look, either of those candidates would be a good speaker. I'm supporting Jim Jordan. I do believe he is the best person to bring everyone together. He has relationships with the moderates all the way to the ultra-conservatives and everybody in between. And also, I think he's got the fight to go to the Senate and the White House to negotiate a good deal on behalf of the American people. And so I'm behind him. But regardless of who comes out ahead of today's meeting, I think the party, the conference should rally around that person. Let's go to the floor. Let's show unity, and let's get to work, because what we're seeing in Israel happening right now, we should be very concerned. We need to get back to work, support our ally, and make sure that nothing like that happens here in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things that you all have to navigate include that vote where one person can eject the speaker, which is what we just saw happen with Kevin McCarthy. Will that rule be changed for the next speaker?
Look, there's a major push for people to change, for us to change that rule. I believe it certainly should be reevaluated. I think that a lot of members are actually holding out and supporting anyone until they see that rule change. The thing is, we don't have time. We need to get back to work now. Federal funding is expiring in what, 30 days? We have to pass the remaining appropriations bill, and during this critical time with our ally under attack here, we need to make sure that we're in the chamber and doing our job. So I say yes, we should change the rule, but let's not delay getting a speaker in place. We need to move forward. It's a shame what happened to Kevin McCarthy. He did not deserve this. He was a great leader, and it's unfortunate. But the bottom line is we need to elect a speaker and move forward collectively. And remember that the fight is not with each other. The fight is with the Senate and the White House, and quite frankly, with our adversaries around the world who are looking to do us harm.
By the way, once you get the speaker in place, will you pursue an impeachment of Joe Biden?
Yeah, so look, we have that impeachment inquiry, and we have to follow the facts. I think it's getting there to the point, but we need to make sure we have the facts to back it up first.
Thank you very much, Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, this morning in Washington. We'll be right back.